This is the Yes We Canada podcast, an independent podcast where your support is essential to our production. You can help fund our work with a monthly subscription by going to patreon.com/YesWeCanada, where your contribution is deeply appreciated. Okay, let's roll.
This is the Yes We Canada podcast, the progressive's guide to getting the fuck out. This episode, Stiletto Justice.
Hey, I'm Matt Zimble in Montreal. It's great to be back from hiatus. We dropped the last episode in May, and then because there was nothing interesting going on politically, we took a break. Because high-quality political satire cannot exist without events. And now, mid-August, after 3 dumpster-fire decisions by the Supreme Court, a failed assassination attempt on Trump, the resignation of the Democratic nominee, also known as the President of the United States, and, for the first time in history, the nomination to the top of a presidential ticket of an Asian woman who turned black.
I didn't know she was black.
Sir, there are so many things you don't know, but hey, we'll get back to that in a minute. May I just say, sir, that polling is telling us that black is the new orange. You know, Donald, the presidency may become one of those black jobs you talk about so often.
They're taking black jobs.
I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Okay, let me just finish the list of things that we missed during hiatus, because there was a lot. In the vice presidential stakes, they were resolved with the Democrats picking the left-wing radical governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, whose commie tendencies are fully disguised by his doughy Midwestern dad, football coach, high school teacher makeover. Trump selected the millionaire tech entrepreneur / memorist / junior senator from Ohio, faux Billy, professional cat hater, J.D. Vance. In 2016, which is not so long ago, Vance called Trump reprehensible, cultural heroin, unfit to govern, and just to top it off, he called Donald an idiot. And to prove J.D. right, Trump picked him for VP. Damn, a lot happened during hiatus. Lisa, whose stupid idea was it to go on hiatus during an election year?
It was yours, sir.
Oh, my idea. Okay. Actually, hiatus is brilliant. It builds suspense, contributes to the episodic story arc, conflict, resolution, Greek myths, yada, yada, yada. Absolutely brilliant.
You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
Okay, let's see, what else did we miss? Right. Marjorie Taylor Greene popped another head gasket.
Republicans continually have their head up their ass and can't figure out how to actually use the power that the people gave us. I am so fed up. I am so sick of it, because I know people at home are sick of it. People are sick and tired of a feckless, useless Republican Party that never does a damn thing to stop any of this.
Is that really news, sir? Or is it just mental illness?
Smells like diplomacy to me. She's the megaphone that just keeps on giving. Now, in other news, Trump's former trade advisor, Peter Navarro, one of like 6 Trump officials who got sent to prison, also known as the Club Fed, got out of jail in Florida, jumped out of his orange jumpsuit and into a black suit, and flew private directly to Milwaukee to give a primetime speech at the Republican National Convention.
I'm a cowboy, badass and black, and singing Trump, Trump.
Ladies and gentlemen, direct from the Miami Federal Correctional Facility in Florida, please welcome President Trump's Director of the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy, Peter Navarro! Is this on? Is this on? Good evening. It's great to be here. Do I smell like prison? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wanted to have Steve Bannon open for me, but the weaponized Injustice Department said he couldn't get an early parole for good behavior because he'd only been in jail for a day. I go to prison so you don't have to. Yeah, well, I listen to Peter Navarro speeches, so you don't have to. Enough of that. Oh my God, Paul Manafort, Roger Stone. Geez, boys, there were so many Trump-associated ex-cons walking around the convention floor at the RNC, they should have called the convention the Con. And I naively thought that ex-cons were not allowed to congregate with felons. Oh, right. You missed that news too, because we weren't on the air. This is a good one. Trump was convicted of 32 felony counts for falsifying business records in New York City for covering up a clandestine sexual relationship with an adult film actress.
Don't you mean porn star?
Pi, don't you think adult film actress sounds better?
Well, it's not very clear. Most film stars are adults.
Okay, then, well, how about erotic film actress?
Well, according to the Yes We Canada style guide here, an erotic film actress uses Vaseline on the lens, and a porn star uses Vaseline on her body.
Okay, then, porn star. Trump paid off a porn star.
A jury of 12 Manhattan residents reaches an historic verdict. Donald Trump guilty on all counts. He is now the first former president to become a convicted felon.
And sentencing will be in September. Add this guilty verdict to his civil rape conviction in the E. Jean Carroll case and the Trump Organization's guilty verdict on criminal charges of tax and financial fraud and his 40-ish other outstanding felony charges. You know, lightweight misdemeanor shit like conspiracy to defraud the U.S., conspiracy against the rights of citizens, conspiracy to obstruct justice, willful retention of national defense information, which of course falls under the jurisdiction of that minor annoying city ordinance called the American Espionage Act. Plus, Racketeering, Influence, and the Corrupt Organizations Act, which he's been charged with in Georgia. And what, you may ask, does a one-man crime wave get you in the United States? Why, it gets you the endorsement of the National Association of Police Officers, which is a police organization with upwards of 250,000 members in America, 2 of whom are black. Yeah, Bob, we'll take the felon for president for 4 more. I do wonder what the D.C. police, who lost 1 of their men in blue during the January 6th insurrection and 4 following the event by suicide, must think of Napo's endorsement.
They're throwing metal poles at us. 150, give me DSO up here now! DSO! Full law enforcement entry! DSO, get up there! We've been taken, and we've lost lives! 50, the crowd is using munitions against us!
So now that you're all caught up, let's talk about the Democrats' DEI hire to become the next president of the United States.
Well, I think she's one of the weakest candidates I've ever seen in the history of our country. Intellectually, just really kind of the bottom of the barrel. I think she was a DEI hire.
Biden said, first off, he said he's going to hire a black female for vice president. What about white females? What about any other group? It just, when you go down that route, you take mediocrity, and that's what they have right now as a vice president. 100%. She was a DEI hire.
Or a lot of Democrats feel they have to stick with her because of her ethnic background.
Give me a D, give me an E, give me an I. What's that spell?
It spells diversity, equity, and inclusion. Well, let's just see about this DEI business, shall we?
Damn straight Pamela Harris is a DEI hire. What'd she ever do? What kind of qualifications has she gotten? You know, on November 19th, 2021, President Biden had a colonoscopy, and Harris was acting president from 10:10 until 11:35 a.m. She was president for 85 minutes. She got nothing done. Not a thing. I do my own colonoscopies. Hold my beer.
Harris rose from middle-class roots. Her dad was Jamaican, her mom Indian. They were professors.
Son of a bitch. Professors? Ain't no difference between a professor and a communist. It's the same damn thing. Hold my beer.
Harris got a degree in economics. Got a law degree, became a lawyer. Then she became a prosecutor. Then the district attorney of San Francisco. Then she was elected as Attorney General of California. a state with the 5th largest economy in the world. Just to give you an idea, if California was a country, it would have an economy a little bit smaller than Japan, but larger than India's. And Harris became the Attorney General, the top law enforcement official in the 5th largest economy in the world, twice, because she got reelected. Some called her reign Stiletto Justice. Then Harris was elected to the U.S. Senate. Now, I don't know when you last checked up on the racial and gender makeup of the Senate, but it's not like there's a lot of black women hanging around the joint legislating. In fact, Kamala was only the 2nd black woman and the 1st Asian woman to become a senator in history. But fuck, it's only been 248 years since the founding of the Senate, and these goddamn things take time.
I didn't know she was black.
In the U.S. Senate, Kamala's prosecutorial chops came in handy.
I'll repeat the question. Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
Is that a no, sir?
Did you have any communication with any Russian businessmen or any Russian nationals?
I don't believe I had any conversation with Russian businessmen or Russian nationals.
Are you aware of any communication?
A lot of people were at the convention. It's conceivable that somebody came up to me.
Sir, I have just a few.
Well, you let me qualify it. If I don't qualify it, you'll accuse me of lying. So I need to be correct as best I can.
I do want you to be honest.
And I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
So I would suggest to you it is not helpful for Border Patrol agents to follow an ambulance to a hospital and then arrest a 10-year-old after her surgery. And I would ask you to review the efficacy of the conduct of your agents and your perspective on what happened that day.
I'm happy to provide you the actual facts of what happened.
If you study Harris, as we have, so you don't have to, you'll see that she not only knows how to convince a judge and jury on issues of corporate malfeasance or malfeasance. Malfeasance is a very French word for corporate fuckery. But my girl knows how to make the malfeasant motherfuckers pay. BP paid $14 million in damages. ConocoPhillips paid $11.5 million in damages. VW paid $14.7 billion. Costco Busan paid $44 million for an oil spill. $25.4 million from Chevron for another oil spill, and so on and so forth. Under Attorney General Kamala Harris, crime certainly paid for the citizens of California.
He's in the jailhouse now. In the jailhouse now. Well, I told him once or twice, you stop playing cards, ain't a shooting dice. He's in the jailhouse now. Yaddy-yo-lay.
Kamala Harris for the people. And finally, when Kamala won the vice presidency, she became the highest-ranking female official in U.S. history. More importantly than all of that, Kamala was schooled here in Montreal, Canada. Her mom was teaching at McGill and doing cancer research at the Jewish General Hospital, and she told Kamala and her sister Maya that it would be a great northern adventure to move to Montreal, a place that qualifies as subarctic during the 10 months of winter. This must have been a tough sell to a California teenager. One of the schools she attended is called FACE, Fine Arts Core Education. My sons went there. It's a wonderful publicly funded progressive French-English school where it's mandatory for the children to learn an instrument. The students are also given wonderful values at this school where the upper grade kids look after the younger students to foster a kind of intergenerational mentoring. They teach kids how to care for each other, which sounds pretty goddamn presidential to me. But wait here for a second. Republicans have some serious concerns about Kamala. What's she like to work with? Is she a good boss? Is she, nice? Well, conservatives are quick to point out that she's had a lot of senior people leave her office. I mean, speechwriters, comms folks, chief of staffs. I mean, if there's HR issues in the Veep's office, we need to know about them before we hire her for president and commander-in-chief, right? I mean, we the people, we're the hiring committee, right? And by comparison, it's a well-established fact that Donald Trump is a great boss.
Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
I mean, just listen to his staff in their exit interviews. Let's see here. Rex Tillerson, his former Secretary of State, called him, and I quote, a fucking moron. And then John Kelly, his longest-serving chief of staff, said, quote, Trump has no idea what America stands for and no idea what America is all about. End quote. bada boom. And Bill Barr, Trump's former attorney general, had this to say.
He will always put his own interests and gratifying his own ego ahead of everything else.
And then Barr endorsed him for president in 2024, just to prove to the nation, as if we had any doubts whatsoever, that William Barr is the POS-AG of all times, WTF. The parade of Trump staff raves continues with Cassidy Hutchison, an aide to Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, who complimented her former boss like this.
I think that Donald Trump is the most grave threat that we will face to our democracy in our lifetime and potentially in American history.
But the best one is General Mark Milley. You remember Mark, right? He was Trump's joint chief of staff. Trump said General Milley should be executed for treason. Now think about that for a second. You're a fucking general, boss of all the military, and your commander-in-chief announces publicly that you should be executed. You live in a country where there are 330 million people who have 500 million guns. Geez, do they teach this kind of tactical defense at West Point? So, is Kamala a good boss? Is she fun to work for? Is she really nice? I guess Republicans just have different standards for women bosses. Because they're weird.
Well, it's true. These guys are just weird. They talk about freedom, freedom to be in your bedroom, freedom to be in your exam room, freedom to tell your kids what they can read. That stuff is weird. They come across weird. They seem obsessed with this. But we're not afraid of weird people. We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid. Donald Trump is potentially going to end constitutional liberties that we have. Listen to the guy. He's talking about Hannibal Lecter and shocking sharks and just whatever crazy thing pops into his mind. And I thought we just gave him way too much credit.
Oppo research on their VP pick, faux Billy J.D. Vance, revealed that he Googled, quote, sex with dolphins. I mean, look, full disclosure, I've dated a few dolphins. Who hasn't? But I've never wanted to, experience them carnally. I mean, that just seems fishy to me. But not to J.D. I mean, the man wears eyeliner. No, guyliner. In fact, the Bulwark reported that Trump has repeatedly commented favorably on J.D.'s beautiful blue eyes and long eyelashes. He looks like a young Abraham Lincoln, Trump said. Guyliner, anyone? The Trump campaign swung into action and got J.D.'s wife, Usha, to, issue a statement that her husband does not wear eyeliner when he complains that Democrats are just a bunch of childless cat ladies. Getting weird enough for you? Oh yeah, and the weird Republicans, the ones that are burning books and controlling women's bodies and fighting for your freedom, yeah, that's it, your freedom, well, these weird Republicans started attacking Harris's VP choice, Tim Walz, by calling him Tampon Tim. Why Tampon Tim? Well, because, first of all, Republicans in the House have the intellectual capacity of 11-year-old schoolyard bullies. Tampon Tim. They gave him that nickname because as governor of Minnesota, Walz decreed that all schools in his state would have feminine hygiene products available to their students in the washrooms for free. And free school lunches and free school breakfasts. Why? Because Democrats care about children who do not have the means. Why? Because Democrats realize that caring for children creates better outcomes, a healthier state, a happier citizenry, and for those of you who are only looking at the bottom line, that also means a state with less crime, less drug addiction, less disease, and less violence. See how that works, Republicans? Get in touch with your inner Jesus.
Son of a bitch, you coastal elites make me want to puke. Republicans do give to children. In Louisiana, there's now a law that every classroom is going to have a poster of the 10 Commandments. See? Hold my beer.
Tampon Tim, guyliner, cat ladies. Clearly, the United States has become a political cesspool. But I know you guys, I know my listeners, and I know what you're all thinking right now. Where's Melania? She's not on the campaign trail. Is she okay? Where's Melania? Why, the former First Lady is busy giving paid speeches. Do you remember our friends, the log cabin Republicans? You know, the gay Republicans who were not allowed to have a booth at the Texas Republicans Convention? Well, they paid Melania $237,500 U.S. to speak in April and $250,000 for an event in 2022. Her qualifications for the Log Cabin Republicans? Well, long before she became First Lady, she was photographed naked with a Second Lady. Republicans weird? You decide.
I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Is that really news, sir? Or is it just mental illness?
Remember, if you see weird, say weird. Till next time.
This has been Yes We Canada, the Progressive's Guide to Getting the Fuck Out. Sound designed by Pi Salen Cutler, theme music composed by Doug Wild and Matt Zimble and performed by Manteca. My name is Lisa Evans, and I'm your announcer. Thanks for joining us.